Welcome to the Poisoner's Cabinet. I'm Sinead.
And I'm Nick.
And this is your weekly podcast exploring the lives of the great poisoners and macabre murders from across the centuries and creating curious cocktails inspired by the tales that we tell. And it's episode 140.
Damn, out of those damn 30s.
Out of those damn 30s and straight into Christmas.
It is Christmassy times.
It is our Christmas episode. It is the merriest day of the year, 2 days before it happens. Yay.
Yes, absolutely.
This is the closest we're going to get to Christmas.
Well, it's the merriest day because our episode comes out.
Absolutely.
Everyone is very jolly.
Everyone now can start celebrating Christmas.
Yes.
Don't you dare do it a day before. If you did, then you have angered all the Christmas.
All the Christmas gods.
How are you, Nick?
I'm alright.
Yeah, gearing up, ready.
Well, one more day to go work. So yeah.
Now,
one more day at work, so that's always good.
you work in retail. How mad is it at the moment?
Not in the slightest. The retail I do is entirely not Christmas based.
Right, it's
People
not.
do not come and buy a sofa 2 days before Christmas.
No one panic buys.
So no one panic buys sofas at this stage. So it's great. So it's absolutely dead.
Oh, some big millionaire's going to walk in on Christmas Eve or whenever the last day of trading is.
Tomorrow.
Oh, is it tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So when this comes out, we're recording this in advance.
Oh yes, I'll be well closed by then.
Oh, tomorrow. Oh no, tomorrow someone's going to walk in and go, "I need all the sofas you have, sir."
That's fine. Now to do with me.
You're just going to close the door in their face. Not my problem.
Yeah, not in this office, you don't.
That sounds like a 2023 problem. Hey. Oh, well, big love to everyone who is working in retail, who is working over Christmas, because we know not everyone celebrates Christmas. You may be celebrating Hanukkah, you may be celebrating your own religion, you may not give a shit about Christmas at all, but we hope you're happy, you're healthy, and if you are working and looking after people, then we're thinking of you, and we're here for our special Christmassy episode.
Yeah, you keep on going about how Christmassy this episode's going to be. I might need to dial that down a bit.
Well, I'm bringing the Christmas spirit.
You bring some Christmas, okay, because I've got none.
And by Christmas spirit, I mean the booze. So generally with Christmas episodes, because this is our third one.
Which is a bit mad.
This is mad. 3
Mad.
years.
3 years.
Oh,
Who would have thunk it?
been a journey.
But it has.
As is tradition with the Christmas episode, we like to ramp up the booze a little and find any way to sort of work in a Christmas fact or two.
Working a few more. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, but your episode is nice and secular, though.
Entirely non-Christmas based, so anyone can enjoy it at any time of year. Good old-fashioned non-Christmassy murder.
Any poisonings this week?
Don't believe so. I think it is Christmas, so I think it would be rude to poison people at such a time.
Yes. Wait until the big day.
Exactly. Wait until you've got a nice crowd, or the rage of January is upon you.
I have no poisonings.
Well done.
I had a very nice day today. I went to a wildlife centre, which is more of like a wildlife park, which is a great one in Kent, very near us. It's all about native English species being protected. And back in the olden days, we had bison and we had bears and we had wolves roaming the countryside.
absolutely.
So that's what's there.
That's all there.
And I got to see a baby bear.
A baby bear.
Who wasn't in hibernation because they're just babies and they're like, hello.
I don't want to sleep.
And I saw a Christmas horse.
Christmas horse, okay.
There's a reindeer.
There's a reindeer.
And
Yeah.
a Christmas pigeon and a Christmas beaver and a Christmas elk. The elk was huge.
Right. How was the elk particularly Christmassy?
It came at me and I just ran.
Okay.
It was pulling a sleigh full of dead people.
Right, okay. Santa on his back with a whip. Going, ah!
It was a terrifying scene.
Terrifying scene.
And I saw 2 ravens kissing.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
Ravens kiss because one raven goes up to the other raven and that raven holds the other raven's beak in its beak.
Does it?
They just sit there and one holds the other beak and that's kissing.
No, that's one raven telling the other one to shut the fuck up.
In a very still, chilling way.
Exactly, yeah. No words are spoken, just like no. Shush. That's what that is. A raven
hope
after
it
my
is.
own heart. Shut up.
No.
So enough of that.
As they saw me coming, they were like, it's that mad woman who thinks she can talk to you. I was standing there going,
She thinks she's one of us. It's very weird. She's putting the wings on. It's getting weirder.
hey, that beaver and I had a connection. That sounds wrong. Oh, God, no.
Really don't want to know.
No. It was a little curled up hybrid. You know what? No.
Yeah, stop there. Moving on. From your...
My what?
I don't know what to say.
Beaver-based shenanigans.
Beaver-based shenanigans.
'Tis the season for beavers.
Tis the season for beaver-based shenanigans.
Well, speaking of beaver-based shenanigans and celebrating the end of the year however you choose, I think it is time for us to thank our delicious Patreon subscribers.
Absolutely. And I think this week we will say thank you to everyone who has been with us, over the past 3 years. This crazy time. Thank you to those who have been with us since the beginning. Thank you to those of you who joined us last week. You're all bloody marvellous.
We so appreciate you. We appreciate all of the cyanide connoisseurs who started and joined us this year. We really couldn't do this without you. Everything that you do and your support on Patreon helps to support this show. It helps us to carry on and keep making new content for you. There's going to be a lot of fun on Patreon during the Christmas break. We are taking a break next week from the main episode. There will be no main episode next week because it's Christmas. We're all over the place. We're doing stuff. We need to have a bit of a sleep.
Yep.
But there will be extra content going out on Patreon, and we're doing a special Q&A Deadly Nightcaps. So a chance for all of the subscribers of that channel to ask us mad questions, nice questions, slightly questions. And we'll see what happens. And also, we have shared on social media, but we have donated this year to Porchlight, which is a local charity in Canterbury. Details of our charity are on social media. So if you're able to support them, please check them out and donate if you can. Well, Nick, are you ready?
Probably. Took me by surprise there.
That's what I do. I'm like Santa coming down the chimney. Well, Nick, will I look in my sack? Did drink cocktails and talk about Christmas poison?
We're back on the Christmas again.
Or we could drink poison and talk about Christmas cocktails.
Christmas cocktails.
Oh,
Now you have me intrigued.
indeed. Well, should we go with cocktails to start with?
Let's cocktails and see where they devolve to.
I like it. Hooray, hooray, hooray. It is Nick's story this week, but we can't possibly have a story without a cocktail in hand. As you know, dear listeners, every week we choose a secret ingredient that is inspired by the tale that we tell, and it will flavour our cocktail of the week. Nick's story, so his pick, and the secret ingredient this week is...
It's a lovely lion.
A lion!
A lovely lion.
Fluffy, lovely.
Fluffy, lovely, roary lion.
King of the jungle. The story's not Christmassy, so we're
No.
not going with a Lion Witch in the Wardrobe kind of
Not a
theme.
traditional Christmas lion.
No,
No, there was famously at the Nativity.
the Christmas lion at the Nativity. So many children died.
But no, it's not that.
It's
just
not that.
It's just a standard.
Just a standard lion. Okay, good. So with a lion as your ingredient, your inspiration, what have you come up with?
Well, we are having a white lion.
White like snow.
Wait, that's Christmassy.
That's
good.
Christmas-
I hadn't thought of that. Well done.
That's a Christmas lion.
That's a Christmas. It's not made of snow.
Is it not?
Snow lion. Is there a snow lion?
No, snow leopard.
Oh, so you get snow leopards. You get snow lions?
No.
No, probably not.
No, you have a snow leopard. You can have a liger and a
That's-
tie-in
a
and a
tie-tie.
lai and a tie-tie where they mix them together. But you can also have... No, they do.
Yes, I knew they do.
Not mix them in a big bowl,
In a
like
big
the way I
bowl.
did that gesture there.
Like in a blender. Cut one in half and put them together. And the island Dr. Moreau thing going on. It's like, not quite where we're going with that. I was making a lovely white lion cocktail and you're creating all sort of weird, crazy hybrids.
So a white lion.
A white lion.
Sounds delightfully festive. I think it is time for us to merrily skip into the poisonous cabinet kitchen and shake up a storm. So we'll see you in a minute.
We'll see you in a bit.
And we're back.
Hello.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. So Nick, a white lion.
Yeah.
A snowy lion.
Snowy.
It doesn't look very white.
No.
It looks like a normal coloured lion, actually.
It looked... Well, see, the thing is, it looks a lot whiter in the picture
Ooh.
because I think it's meant to go with crushed ice. I didn't have any crushed ice. I actually, in a very unprepared way, only had a few really big, chunky ice cubes left.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought if I smash them up, then there's going to be very little crushed ice.
Yeah.
So I left it as one big chunky cube.
Okay.
So I think, yes, with more ice, it would be more whiter.
But did it look white in the pictures?
In the
'Cause
picture, it
this
looked
is
very white.
golden.
Yes,
this is golden.
This is more of a traditional lion colour, I feel.
It's a white lion in disguise as a normal lion.
As a normal lion.
It's put on a tan. Ooh, it looks nice, and it's a brown drink, which always serves as well. So, well, Merry Christmas,
Merry
Nick.
Christmas.
Hooray.
Hooray.
Ooh,
Merry Christmas.
let's dive in. Sharp, tangy. Yeah. Meh.
Well, it's all right.
I quite like that. No, I don't mind that actually, because that's quite.
It's not unpleasant.
As the first cocktail on Christmas Day,
Well, yeah, that very, very fair point. Yeah.
because it tastes very citrusy.
Yeah. And it's not heavy. It's not really powerfully strong or anything like
No.
that. Very refreshing.
Yes, refreshing.
So, yeah.
When you're preparing your canapes and you're putting the turkey in the oven, this is a nice one to have.
Very true.
Okay, so I'm gonna hazard a guess
Mm.
or two. That is there orange juice in this?
No.
There's not orange juice.
No.
Lime juice?
Yes.
Okay, lime juice, Cointreau. I know there's Cointreau because you said there was Cointreau in it at one
You
point.
saw the bottle.
I saw the bottle and I went, oh, my eyes. So Cointreau, lime juice. What else is in there?
Stuff.
Rum?
There is rum.
Dark rum.
There is dark rum.
Yay!
There's some darkened rum.
Are there other things?
There is one other. I will give you 1.5 other things.
Okay. There's some bitters?
There is a bitters. 2.5 other things. Then I forgot about the bitters.
And then there's bitters, like normal bitters.
Mm-hmm.
Sugar?
Yes, I'm trying to think. Can you taste it? You can taste it. The other thing that I'm see if you're interested in if you get.
Is there something cherry?
You're not far off.
Oh,
It's not cherry, but you're in the right ballpark.
some fruit.
Yes.
Fruit. It's got fruit in
It's
it.
got some fruitiness.
Pineapple.
No.
Loganberry.
It's got some raspberry. It's got a raspberry syrup in there. No, I mean a tiny amount.
Okay.
But you can taste it.
Yes, there's
And
definitely.
there's definitely a fruity thing in the back. I knew it was raspberry because I made it. But yeah, a cherry is a very good guess.
If you were pouring stuff in that you didn't know what it was, I'd worry. But
But no, it's a tiny amount. It's like 1/6 of an ounce, but you can taste it.
See, I like this. This is a nice long drink. It's fruity. It's refreshing. Not too much alcohol in there. You've got rum and the
Rum and
Cointreau.
Cointreau. Yeah,
Yeah, and then you had some fruitiness to top it up.
absolutely.
And is the raspberry liqueur a boozy liqueur? Or
No,
just
it's just a syrup, just a morning syrup. So no alcohol involved there at all. But what's interesting is because it is quite sharp. It is quite sharp. It's not just lime juice that goes in there. So you sort of zest your limes beforehand, and you're expressing the oils into your shaker, into your tin. Then you're putting the discarded peelings in the tin as well, and then you're squishing your lime juice and getting your lime juice and things. So when you shake it, you're getting a lot more of that bitter thing that you get from the zest and from the oil, and it really comes out.
Yeah.
In
Definitely.
that, which ordinarily you wouldn't do that. You just have the lime juice. You don't want that extra bitterness, but this has got it, and it works very well.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of sugar syrup in there, and then you've got some sweetness from the raspberry as well.
I think that's really nicely balanced.
Actually, the more I've had a few sips now, and it's like, yeah, no,
Had a few goes.
The flavour is it builds, and it's not so bad. It, annoyingly unwhite.
Unwhite. But then I think over crushed ice. See, what would it do with crushed ice? Probably it wouldn't be as strong. Because I don't like drinks over crushed ice.
I'm generally not a crushed
ice. Crushed ice, yep. Mm-hmm.
It's fine in some summery things. Oh, the shark bite. I always go back to that one. That's a really good crushed ice.
Because
drink.
it's a bit of theatre.
Because there's a bit of theatre in there. But otherwise, I think you just get too much dilution and you end up with just water. But a big chunky cube of ice keeps it chilled.
Absolutely.
And
that's the way to serve it. I like it. Ooh, the white lion. We have it by our side. We shall mount the white lion and ride it towards the Storyville.
Ride it into battle.
Going, Merry Christmas. And then we get there and it goes, none of that.
None of that.
We may have a couple of extra drinks for Christmas coming up, but in the meantime, it's time for his journey.
It is certainly time for a story. So, this week, we have the story of Charlie Peace. Charlie Peace, a notorious he was, 19th century cat burglar and murderer.
Ooh, a cat burglar.
Cat burglar. We've got a bit of a burglaring going on.
How desperately romantic and
absolutely
horrific.
This is a man who evaded arrest for years before finally being brought to justice.
Nice.
But we are not going to start with Charlie. We're going to start with Charlie's father, John. Appears to be a very fascinating man as well. So I thought, I like that. I'm going to tell you about John as well.
Okay.
So John Peace. He was a collier in Burton-on-Trent, worked down the coal mines. But then one day there was a horrendous accident in the mine, and he lost a leg.
Oh, God.
He lost a leg. So he was still a young man at this point, but he's no longer able to work. Labouring is what he does. He's gone. He can't do that with one leg. Very, very difficult. He searches desperately for a way to support himself. So what do you do when you need a fresh start? You need to find somewhere I can make a go with this.
With one leg.
With one leg, you join the circus.
Oh, no.
He joins Wombwell's Wild Beast Show.
What? Say it again slowly.
Wombwell's.
Wombwell's.
Wombwells.
Okay.
Wombwells.
Wombles.
Wombwells. Wombwell's Wild Beast Show.
Wild Beast Show.
Absolutely.
Oh, this is not going to be good for animal welfare.
I imagine not. I imagine not.
Did they have a Christmas horse?
Very possibly. I don't know. They don't mention a Christmas horse specifically. But it turns out that John has quite the affinity with the wild animals.
Oh.
And he quickly earns himself a reputation as a very skilled and talented one-legged lion tamer.
I mean, that's a great, bold job to go into with one leg.
Absolutely.
You would watch that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And people do come from miles around. I mean, he must have some sort of prosthetic or something going
Yes.
on. He's not just hopping around the place with
It
a
might
lion.
be. Is he feeding them bits of flesh from his leg?
I think his leg may be removed by this point.
No, but from the stump.
One would hope not,
Maybe that's how he has the affinity
because
with
that
them.
seems very unpleasant.
They see him as a source of snack.
People come from all over to witness his skills and his daring do. And at one of these performances, he meets Jane, who has come to marvel at all this. The two soon marry and they go on to have a lovely family. Now, we know that Charlie was born in 1832, and he is the youngest of 4 children. The eldest son, we don't know his name, but he was all set to follow in his father's footsteps into the circus, into the lion taming game, until one day during training,
No.
one of the lions became enraged from all the random poking and ate the young lad.
Oh, that's awful. And yet, oh my God.
Oh my God, indeed.
How old was he?
We don't know.
We don't know.
Don't know, but we're thinking it must be, I'm thinking probably early teens,
Well,
sort
I
of.
suppose if he was training...
He was training to follow after his father and things, so it must have been relatively young. Yeah.
If you're going to hit a lion a lot with a big
Yeah.
stick and a whip and go dance, you're gonna get eaten.
Yeah, unpleasant things are going to happen, and they very much did.
Oh,
Now, obviously,
dear.
John and Jane are distraught by the death of their eldest son by lion, and John leaves the circus. He goes, no more of this, and he goes to settle in Sheffield. And this is where Charlie is born, with strict instructions to stay away from lions.
As they are known to roam Sheffield.
They do. They roam the streets.
I know we were talking about native species to England. Actually, there were lions a while ago.
Not in the 1830s, I
Not
feel.
in the 1830s, no, but way back when. Weren't there?
I don't know if there were lions.
No, well, they're mentioned a lot in the days of in folklore and things, and lions in England.
I think you may be
making
shit
this up.
Yeah.
You know what? There were wolves and there were bears.
Yeah, absolutely.
There might have been the odd lion.
Yeah, absolutely. And kangaroos, they were bouncing around the place.
Hey, there are
dragons, lots of dragons.
Of course, there were dragons. Obviously, there's
Obviously
dragons.
there were dragons.
There are wallabies in Kent. They hop around. There's some loose.
Right.
There are.
Okay, now enough of that. Now we've got to move on to Charlie.
Okay.
We're here to talk about Charlie.
But that was the lions.
But that
bit.
was the lion bit, 'cause it was great.
Nothing to do with Charlie
Nothing to do with
whatsoever.
Charlie.
But-
But his father was a famous lion tamer. His brother got eaten by a lion.
Obviously, you're going to tell that story.
That's exactly.
Yeah. And he grew up with a lifelong fear of lions.
Fear of lions, yeah. And so, yeah, lions have heavily influenced his life, I feel.
He became a cat burglar.
So, but by all accounts, I mean, he is a terrible student when he's young. It quickly becomes apparent that he has inherited his father's sort of showmanship. Really, he's mostly remembered for pulling pranks and being the sort of the class clown. Does not go down particularly well at a Victorian school.
Not so much, no.
Really. They're
No,
not
no,
really
no.
up for the pranks and the clowning around.
He's going to be hit by a ruler a lot.
He's
He's going to
gonna
have flashbacks to the lion taming.
Yes. He leaves school as soon as he is able to, as soon as he's legally able to, and he goes to work at the local steel mill. But in a slightly terrifying echo of his father's life, at the age of 14, an accident in the factory sends a red-hot steel rod through his leg.
Ah.
He ends up in hospital for a year and a half, 18 months, convalescing
Jesus.
in hospital. But he doesn't just lie around feeling sorry for himself. He learns to play the violin while he's in hospital. He's lying there and he's just
Feeling sorry for himself,
feeling sorry
clearly.
for himself. And then, but then playing. I'm not going to just lie here and go, "Oh, woe is me."
I need a violin to back this up.
I'm going to learn how to play the violin.
Yes, if he was
And so he
entertaining
does.
people, that's fine. Otherwise, he's the bastard in the bed who was really milking this. Well, all of his family's legs cursed.
Yeah, absolutely. Legs were not good for this family.
The father worked in a circus. There was a gypsy who told fortunes there, and she placed a terrible curse on the
Yeah.
leg of every man who was born.
Yeah.
And they were like, this is weird.
Yeah, I mean, actually, Charlie ended up having his kneecap removed because of the damage to his head. He didn't lose the leg like his father, but he was severely crippled, really, for the rest of his...
How does that work if you don't have a kneecap?
I don't know. Put some twigs in there, some wood. Make a new one out of...
Again, 1830s, not 1100, where they just
Make a
fill
new
it with bees.
wooden kneecap or something.
They probably had metal.
Or metal kneecap, then. I don't know.
It's made of stainless steel. You can't get it wet.
Now, the misfortune in Charlie's family really seems to continue after he is released from hospital, as his father dies, pretty much as soon as he is released. Now, Charlie is unable to find any sort of labouring work that he's used to. His injury has left him, he can't really do much, so he starts working with a locksmith. Something you can do when sitting down, which is quite handy. And he learns how to make and fix locks. A useful skill to have.
Oh, dear
really.
God, yes.
Now, apparently, the wage he was getting from this from the locksmith was not particularly suitable or enough for him to survive on. So at some point we know that he started dabbling in a life of crime. So we do know that in October of 1851, Charlie is found in possession of stolen goods that have been burgled from an old lady's house.
Charlie.
However, due to his previous excellent reputation, he is let off relatively lightly with only a single month in jail. So he's not been caught for anything before. He's always
i.e. first offence.
First offence, yeah, absolutely. And he's got a good sort of character reference from people and things like that. He plays the violin very well. Criminals don't do that.
He was in court just playing the violin going, oh, my heartstrings are being tugged. How could we send him away?
On his release, a month later, he decides he's going to forget all about the criminal ways. No, not at all. And he's going to earn a living as a musician. He's going to put his violin playing skills to use. He's very accomplished in his playing. And he's able to pick up a few coins here and there. But no matter how good he is, he's not able to get into the sort of rooms that will let him earn a decent living.
Right.
He's still a crippled working class lad from Sheffield.
Yeah.
Really, he's not going to get into the fancy houses and earn the big bucks playing a violin, no matter how good he is.
And it's the 1800s. It's not like jazz has been invented yet or anything fun, really, with music.
So he's busking on street corners. He might get a few coins thrown in.
Yeah.
He's doing rounds in pub where everyone's shouting and drinking and stuff like that.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with a session, all right?
No, absolutely, but he's not earning a living out of it. He can't.
No,
he
God,
can't
no.
do. In 1854, he is arrested for burglary again. This time, he receives 4 years in jail. His girlfriend at the time and his sister, who are found in possession of some of the stolen goods, they receive 6 months each for their part in the crime. Absolutely.
So it's his girlfriend and his sister.
And his sister, not the same person.
Girlfriend, comma, and his sister.
Two separate people.
For a minute, I was like, Charlie?
No,
Really?
two separate people. On his release in 1858, he goes straight back again to his life of crime. Still a little bit of violining on the side, but mainly crime, really. In 1859, he's married to Hannah Ward as a widow and has a young son of her own. And very soon after the wedding, Charlie's in trouble again.
No.
In the summer of that year, had been a series of burglaries in Manchester, which had the police confounded, really. They had no idea who was pulling off such feats. Really? Until on the 12th of August, a farm worker discovers a huge pile of loot hidden in a hole in a field. It's been obviously used as some sort of meeting point for thieves, and it's all been concealed there. The worker nicely notifies the police rather than just running off with big piles of loot. He's
the most noble man in the world.
Noble, yeah, absolutely. He tells the police of this discovery, and the cunning constable lays a trap.
Ooh.
He lies in wait to see who is going to come to retrieve this hidden treasure.
He doesn't lie in the middle of the field, does
No,
he?
he lies behind
hoping
a tree,
to be camouflaged.
under a bush or something like that.
He's a lion.
Under a haystack.
You know they were native to England, so this isn't actually quite weird.
Who should come along to this big old pile of loot but Charlie Peace?
Charlie.
The constable springs from his hiding place and arrests the rather surprised Charlie. This time it's 6 years in prison, leaving his wife to fend for herself. He's out by 1864. 1866, he's inside again. He is arrested. This time, while he's in prison, he receives news that his wife has given birth to a son. Charlie is a father, and he is desperate to get out and meet his newborn son. So he decides it's time to escape.
Oh,
the only
change my ways.
Escape from prison. He uses a homemade saw, a saw made of tin, and a makeshift ladder to cut a hole in the ceiling of his cell.
Where was he in jail? In some sort of cardboard box?
Yes,
What?
some sort. He's able to use a saw
And a homemade ladder.
So perhaps a wooden ceiling or something.
Ceiling?
We have wooden ceilings.
I know, but it's a jail. They wouldn't have put a bit of metal on there?
No, apparently not.
Again, I say, he was in a shed somewhere.
He got through with a homemade saw and a makeshift ladder.
Oh my God.
He got through the ceiling.
Okay, he's MacGyver then.
Absolutely. So as he is clambering out of this hole, a guard just happens to be on his
on
rounds at the time, and he sees Charlie's legs dangling through this hole, and he tries to grab him and grapple him back down again. But Charlie manages to get free, and he's out. He's out of the hole, and he's on the roof. He's on the prison roof,
Which does not sound stable.
which is not ideal. But he's up there, and he makes his way to the governor's apartments.
Oh, okay.
There. Planning he's going to steal some clothes from the governor's apartments.
Okay.
This time now the prison is now on high alert. Charlie Peace has
a man on the
escaped.
roof.
There's a man on the roof. Charlie doesn't manage to get the clothes from the apartment quick enough. The apartments are searched and he is caught. Of course, extending his jail sentence considerably. By the time he is released in 1872, his son is dead. His son has passed away. At a young age.
Oh, that's very sad.
So he didn't even get to meet his son.
Well, that's a sad twist.
Absolutely, which is not fun at all.
And he was trying. He was trying to get out.
Absolutely. I mean, he is around 40 years old now, and he has nearly spent half his life in prison. Not ideal. He is determined this time he is not going to fall back into his old life. He finds work as a picture framer.
Nice.
A very civilized job, absolutely.
Indeed.
So, and he does that, and it turns out he has a natural talent for the craft. And he he was done with his criminal life. Picture framing is the way forward.
I mean, you just basically have to go, there are 4 sides.
But you got to measure it and cut it at the right angles and mount things and all that sort of stuff.
Doesn't sound that hard.
You couldn't do it.
I couldn't do it.
I think there was a skill involved there to do
I
it well, which is why we go to the shop around the corner and pay hundreds of pounds to get pictures framed.
That is true. That is true. There is a great picture framer, and I recently found out they have no website, no social media. They just come in here to get things framed because we know you need us. However, I would say picture framing not the hardest thing. I think I could give it a bloody good go. I think I could work out that there's 4 sides and a bit of glass.
Right, I would challenge you on that one.
It's not like brain surgery.
To say it would be a shit picture frame.
I'm going to make you a picture frame, Nick, and I will wave it in your face.
And it would fall apart in your hands.
Fine. He is the greatest genius
There
England
we
has
go.
ever known.
I'm glad we agree. In 1874, he makes the acquaintance of Arthur and Catherine Dyson. Now, Arthur Arthur is an engineer who works on the railroad.
He's not related, is he?
Very possibly, distantly.
What, engineer Dyson?
Maybe so. Maybe so. I don't know.
And he works on the railroad.
He's an engineer on the railroad. Catherine is an American woman. They had met 8 years previously when Arthur was travelling in America. They had met, fallen in love, and Catherine had returned to the UK with him. Now, Catherine is a very attractive woman. She's in her mid-20s or so. Charlie's quite a bit older, and he becomes quite smitten with the young Catherine. And she with him, really, and they become very close. Now, we don't know exactly how close.
Why are you doing this with your fingers?
I don't know. How close. This close.
Nick's just doing the the finger and the thumb.
Yeah.
They were
This
close. I'm crushing your head.
Charlie would later claim that she had become his mistress.
Okay.
Catherine denied it.
Of course she would.
Never happened.
A lady never tells.
But they did spend a great deal of time together and enjoyed each other's company. However, at some point in 1875, Catherine starts to pull back slightly and she tries to break off this relationship. It's getting a bit weird now. Charlie doesn't seem to take the hint at this, and he refuses and begins pretty much stalking her.
Is it because they kissed by him holding her lips with his lips?
That's
like
exactly how kissing works.
It's the finger thing.
Arthur is not too happy about this. He wasn't overly happy with Charlie's relationship with his wife in the first place. But the stalking is not so good either. But now there are threats coming from Charlie.
Oh, Charlie.
If he can't have Catherine, then no one can have Catherine. Arthur is really, really worried, and he goes to the police. Charlie Pierce is making these threats against my wife.
And he's a hardened criminal.
And he's a criminal, absolutely. So something has to be done. The police end up putting out a warrant for Charlie's arrest, but Charlie gets wind of this and he moves back to Hull, where they seem to lose him in the mass of people there, and they can't track him down. Though, however, he still continues to sort of torment the Dysons, really, by like popping up at random and going, "Hello!" from behind trees and things like that. I can still see you.
God. That's a way to stalk someone, isn't
Yeah.
it? Don't do it subtly. Hi!
And he ends up getting back into his old burglaring ways. I mean, pretty much as a way to fund his stalking, really. Travel around and follow them about and stuff like that.
That's very upsetting.
Yeah.
He's now making stalking his profession.
His profession, it would seem. With a bit of burglary on the side. So
course.
on the night of the 1st of August 1876, Charlie is attempting to break into a house in Manchester when he is spotted by two policemen. The policemen call out and try and grab him, and Charlie makes a run for it. But one of the policemen, a PC Nicholas Cock, manages to catch him. And I knew you were going to smirk at that.
Let's just hear that again. What's
PC Nicholas Cock.
So he'd be known as PC...
PC Cock.
PC Cock.
PC Cock.
For Christmas. A cock for Christmas.
Yep.
Yay! Okay.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately for PC Cock,
By a cock.
Charlie has a revolver,
Ooh, shit.
and he shoots the PC.
He brought a gun to a cockfight.
He brought a gun. And
You laughed.
I did. A terrible, terrible, terrible joke. He does manage to make his escape, and the constable later dies of his wounds. Charlie is now a cop killer. He has murdered a constable.
You were so close to saying cock killer there.
But I didn't, did I?
But we all thought it.
Yes, you thought it. However, it turned out to be quite lucky for Charlie. The murder is pinned on another local man, William Habron. William had been arrested for being drunk and disorderly only a few days earlier by PC Cock and had threatened to do him in as he was dragged into the cells. Other policemen had also reported seeing someone matching William's description hanging around the area of the murder. I mean, what more evidence could you ask for, really?
Absolutely.
In a murder trial. But the judge is a sensible man. He does advise the jury. It's not the strongest of cases against William. You might want to think about it. The jury go, nope, definitely him. Absolutely, William is going to hang for this crime. Now, the judge, he is found guilty. The judge has no choice but to pass a sentence of death.
The jury are like, let's have lunch.
Yeah, now let's have lunch. Now, throughout this rather short trial, Charlie Pierce is in the gallery.
No, he's not.
He's watching the whole thing.
Oh, they're cold.
Yeah,
cold.
he's watching
he's a stalker.
Yeah,
He's
likes
into watching.
Likes to watch.
Oh my, you bastard.
Now, apparently, he often attended murder trials just for a bit of fun. Really, why not?
Research.
And this one is against a man, who was wrongly accused of his crime. He could not resist sitting there and seeing it all go down. Now, thankfully for William Habron, there was a petition in the papers calling on the Home Secretary to intervene in this, saying it was so flimsy a reason to hang a man. And the Home Secretary does actually intervene. And the sentence is commuted to life imprisonment.
Okay.
Still not great for William, but better than going to the gallows, really, at the moment.
Absolutely. Oh, that's good. That's good news.
So Charlie has got off scot-free with shooting PC Cock, and someone else has been imprisoned for life for the crime.
I mean, you would go and sit in the trial, just kind of go, let me just get all the notes here of how I got away with this.
Absolutely. How everyone else has really fucked it up. Now, Charlie's feud with the Dysons, it's ongoing. It does come to a head in November, the end of November. Charlie had gone to visit Sheffield in order to bring a local vicar what he claimed was proof of Arthur's and Catherine's low moral character. Now, what the vicar was going to do with this, what the proof was, unfortunately, I do not know. But I want to know what can be construed as proving that they had low moral character.
Well, to a vicar, so I suppose at the time it can then be grounds for divorce, I guess.
Well, but Catherine and Arthur don't divorce. They're very happily married.
But they can be shamed.
So yes, that's his idea, to shame them. But they're a married couple. They're not doing anything wrong in that regard.
He could be arrested, though, I suppose, for prostitution or things like that. So maybe he could be like, oh, they're low moral character. They're paying for the sex everywhere they go.
He seemingly thinks he has this evidence that he can indeed shame Arthur and Catherine and humiliate them for whatever reason. After he leaves the vicar, he spends the afternoon celebrating his cleverness in the pub, really going, how marvellous I am.
A drink for everyone in here who has shamed someone.
Yeah, absolutely. But then, as so often happens after a few drinks, bad ideas start to sound like really good ideas.
Okay. oh, let's hear these.
And he decides to pay a visit to the Dysons' house.
Oh, God.
That afternoon. Absolutely. It'd be a great plan. Absolutely.
No.
Yeah, he finds Catherine in the garden. She's tending to her flowers and threatens to shoot her if she doesn't come and speak to him. Just how I want to chat, but I want to chat by gunpoint.
Yes. I just want to talk. I have a handgun.
I have a gun. Absolutely. Now Arthur hears the shouting and the commotion coming from the garden.
Would
and
it be drunken commotion as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Charlie's pissed, waving a revolver. And he goes out to confront Charlie. When Arthur goes out, Catherine runs back into the house. And she hears 2 shots ring out. She runs back outside to see what's going on, and she sees Charlie standing over Arthur's body, gun in hand. Charlie flees. He runs home, back to his mother. And he tells her what she has just done. And then he flees back to Hull. He is just sitting down to dinner that his wife has prepared when 2 policemen arrive at the door looking for him. His wife in the hallway stalls them. Good. Tries to block their path, and he flees out the back and into the night. And it might be time for a little bit of break.
Oh, I think a little Christmas drink.
Christmassy beverage going on there.
Yay! While Mrs. Charlie is flashing her ankle at the policeman.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, let's pause for a drink.
Yep.
And we're back!
Back again.
Back from the snowy lands outside.
the snowy arc.
Now, as it's our Christmas episode, when we have a drinks break, normally we just have whatever's in the kitchen or just make more of the original cocktail. But I have brought a couple of extra cocktails today for Nick. And while our story is not Christmassy, though it takes place over many years,
yeah,
I sort of went off on a tangent and thought, what could I bring that was Christmas themed? And I thought, Lion, Witch and the Wardrobe.
You've gone with a Narnia vibe.
It is. Narnia is very Christmassy and Father
Christmas. Surprisingly, not Christmassy at all. Because it's always winter and Christmas never comes.
Father Christmas turns up in the actual
right at
book.
The very, very end.
Yes, he does. I mean, I know it's a whole big thing about Christianity and paganism and all of that. But yes, it's never Christmas. You know why it's never Christmas in Narnia?
Because the White Witch doesn't like Christmas.
Indeed. So this is the White Witch.
Oh, the White Witch. Nicely done.
Now this cocktail...
It's very blue.
There were things that you did not have. You did not have.
Oh, so it's my fault.
It's your fault. So this is a recipe. I had to make a couple of adaptations to it. And I will say it does call for a dusting of powdered sugar.
Yes.
Like the snow.
You accomplished that on your one.
Yours, I was dusting for ages, so yours might be very, very sweet.
Mine's just a big old lump of ice in there.
It is supposed to be a longer drink, but you didn't have any sparkling water.
Again, all my fault.
Exactly. What kind of bar do you call this? But anyway, let's taste it, and I'll talk you through it.
Okay.
So, cheers.
Yay,
Merry
cheers.
Christmas to the White Witch. You're just shrugging at me.
Not getting a lot of flavour.
No.
I'm sorry.
Bloody hell. All right, a second sip. Is anything coming through?
I'm guessing there's blue curacao.
Yes, I had to. Okay, it's not supposed to be blue.
It was meant to be Cointreau, but I ran out of that.
You were like a quarter of a part away, and I was like, you know what, blue curacao rather than Grand Marnier.
Fair enough.
So now it's a very, very white witch because she's blue because it's so cold.
Yeah. Is there salt in there?
No.
Got tequila in there?
No.
I'm assuming there's lime from a bit of lime peel.
There we go. Okay, so there's lime. Yes, there's some lime.
Is there rum?
There is white rum.
White rum.
And there is one more thing.
There's one more thing. That it isn't sugar.
I love it when Nick tries a cocktail because he really gets into it.
I don't know.
Creme de cacao.
Is there?
The white. Yes.
The white. I'm not picking that up.
And it's almost equal parts.
Oh, really?
So it's 1 part rum.
Yeah.
And then I've done half Cointreau, half creme de cacao, blanc, and half lime.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I can smell the Cointreau.
Yeah.
But I must admit, I'm not
getting the chocolatey.
Can you taste it?
A little bit of a chocolatey background, but the lime overpowers it and the Cointreau. So it's quite nice.
I mean, it's perfectly pleasant.
It's nice, but you wouldn't know there was chocolate in there.
No.
See, I quite like this because it is a bit of a Christmas, whatever's in the cupboard.
Whatever's in the cupboard.
Now, this recipe actually calls for soda water to top it up.
I think there'd be no flavour left if you had it with soda
No,
water.
I think it would ruin it. So it's a lie, but maybe it balances out all of the harshness.
Who can say? An interesting one. Well, there we go. Thank you very much for the cocktail.
The White Witch.
The White Witch.
What would that leave us?
You found a wardrobe-based cocktail.
No, but I found something.
Slightly terrified, but okay, let's go with it.
But we've got our White Witches in hand.
First of all, more story.
More story first.
So Charlie's out the window. Hey. He's legged it. He is now a hunted man. and the police issue the following description.
Okay.
Charles Peace, wanted for murder on the night of the 29th. He is thin and slightly built, from 55 to 65 years of age.
Oh, he's getting on now.
5 feet 4 inches,
Ooh.
or 5 feet high. Grey, nearly white hair, beard and whiskers. He lacks the use of 3 fingers of his left hand. Walks with his legs rather far apart. Speaks somewhat peculiarly, as if his tongue were too large for his mouth, and is a great boaster. He is a picture frame maker. He occasionally cleans and repairs clocks and watches, and sometimes deals in oleographs, engravings and pictures. He has been in penal servitude for burglary in Manchester. He has lived in Manchester, Salford, Liverpool and Hull.
Right, there's a lot.
There's a lot going on there, but you know exactly who you're looking for.
You do. You also, because half of his biography is in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
The person got carried away. Yes, he is known to picture frame, and he does these things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he talks peculiarly as if his tongue is too large for his mouth.
Too large for his mouth, apparently.
This is similar to a lot of the descriptions we've heard before, because that weirdly sounded familiar, because people were terrible at describing people. But he walks with his legs very wide apart.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
And he's either 5'4" or 5 foot. They can't decide.
5 foot, 5 feet 4 inches or 5 foot.
May as well be 5 foot. The inches count.
Yeah, from 55 to 60 years of age. He was actually in his early 40s at this point, so they're out by about 10 years on his age.
That cuts deep.
But otherwise, relatively good description. If you see some pictures, big beardy man.
Santa?
All that. So Charlie sees this description, obviously in the paper, and knows they are hunting for him, and he knows he has to change. He has to change his appearance. He shaves off his beard. No more beard. And he dyes his hair. Then he takes to wearing a false arm to try and conceal his injured hand.
So when did he injure his hand?
So the story goes that actually years and years prior, in a shooting accident, it was written that he lost 3 fingers in his hand.
A shooting accident he was responsible for.
Yeah, there is no indication that he was shooting at someone or someone was shooting at him or anything like that. It's just written about, in an accident with a gun, he lost 3 fingers type thing. So he was badly loading it or God knows what. But there seems
Someone
to be no
hit his hand with a gun.
Criminal activity based on that. So he takes to wearing a false arm that sort of covers over his injured arm.
It was the one-armed man.
And no one knows who he is. In January by 1877, Charlie decides that despite his masterly disguises, Hull is getting a bit too dangerous for him. There are wanted pictures over. There was now a £50 reward for his capture. He moves to Nottingham. To let things calm down.
No, that's where Robin Hood lives.
Back home. Not at the moment he doesn't.
No, the sheriff.
In Nottingham, he takes a room at a boarding house run by Mrs. Adamson. Mrs. Adamson also, quite conveniently, acts as a fence and a fixer for Nottingham's criminal underworld. So
that is a good B&B to stumble across, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, one would imagine that he's got connections. He knows where to go. He's going to stay with Miss Adamson.
No, he just turned up, rang the first doorbell and he said, "Come in, stay, want some drugs?"
So he got really lucky on the first one, absolutely. It was through Mrs. Adamson that he meets Mrs. Susan Bailey. Charlie has stolen a box of cigars, and Mrs. Adamson has fenced them, sold them on to Susan, minus her little commission, of course. Charlie seems quite struck by Susan. She's bold and adventurous and
she smokes
dramatic.
a cigar.
She smokes a cigar, absolutely. One drunken evening, he declares his love for her by threatening to shoot her if she should reject him.
Right.
Susan says, "Fuck off."
Oh, thank God, thank God.
Susan laughs in his face and tells him to piss off, entirely nonplussed by this man waving a revolver, going, "I'm going to shoot you if you don't love me."
Good for her.
Yeah. And this this attitude only really endears her even more to Charlie.
Oh, for
that
God's
she is
sake.
willing to sort of stand up to his nonsense.
There's not going to be an enemies to lovers storyline here that anyone will like.
The next day,
No.
a sober Charlie apologises for his tomfoolery,
No.
the whole thing with the gun. And this approach does seem to work rather better with Susan.
Oh.
And she becomes his mistress.
Right.
She is more than happy to live a life. She likes a bit of danger.
Oh, she was fully living out her fantasy. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Enemies to lovers.
Yeah, going for it. I mean, she's married. Not sure where the husband is. Obviously, he's still married. Wife in Hull. But fuck it. Why the hell not?
Quick shame.
Yeah, quick shame. And it turns into a rather longer term thing. Now in Nottingham, Charlie spends much of his time finding new homes to burglarise. He's able to get back to Hull every now and again to visit his family, but he's still a wanted man. He's still wanted for Arthur's murder. And the reward has gone from £50 to £100, so it's far too risky to spend much time in Hull. But then his adventures in Nottingham, they're not going unnoticed either. The local police are soon on the trail of this man who has caused the crime rates to spike in the city. All these houses that are now being robbed left, right and centre.
What's the common denominator here?
Yeah,
It's elves.
They eventually track him down to the lodging house where they catch him in bed with Susan.
No.
Absolutely.
Reading the paper.
He gives his name as John Ward. And he's able to persuade the officers to give them some privacy while they get themselves dressed. At least
Yes, please, some
wait
decorum,
outside
please, the
while
lady.
the lady gets dressed and
Yes.
we put to get ourselves together. The police, fine, okay, fine. The police go outside. Charlie leaps out of the window and
Yes,
legs it. He runs. This time he realises he needs to disappear for good. Now, he is a wanted man across the north of England. He really only has one option, one place to go to try and escape.
Vegas.
He heads south to London.
Yay.
Anyone can disappear in London.
The streets are paved with gold.
The streets
Nick.
are paved with gold, and you will never be found again.
If this builds up that he's Jack the Ripper, the timeline's matching up ish. I don't know. He'd be a very old Jack the Ripper, though, wouldn't he?
It doesn't take long for Charlie to establish himself in London, really.
Okay.
He quickly finds his way into the city's underworld, and his burglaries soon prove profitable enough that he's able to rent 2 houses in the fancy borough of Greenwich.
Oh.
Quite fancy.
Oh, that's
and he's
fancy.
got 2 semi-detached houses, so next to each other.
So a house.
Yes, but it's split into 2. So 2 separate houses, but next to each other. On one side is Charlie and his mistress, Susan. On the other side, he's able to get Hannah, his wife, from Hull down to
there we
live
are.
in the other house.
Does she know?
Well, whether she's aware of the arrangements before she moves, I don't know.
She has to be. Come on now.
So,
Come on.
I
She's got a nice house in Greenwich.
Yeah.
He keeps going next door. They can't need that much
he's
sugar.
living next door.
Oh.
He's living next door with Susan
Right.
and the mistress. He's living there, and Hannah's by herself in next door in the house.
So she knows the arrangement.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
She's
Fine.
well aware of the range. Whether she knows that when she comes down and then gets there and goes, "What the fuck?" I don't know.
Come
But, yeah.
down and live in my house of sex.
Absolutely.
It's a very Tim Burton, Helena Bonham Carter kind of arrangement.
yeah.
Except that I don't think they had their own lovers in each
Yeah,
house.
probably not. Now, Greenwich proves a little too refined for Susan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not
She
quite
can't get a
her.
cigar anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. She can't get a cigar anywhere. It's not quite her usual sort of social circles, really, in Greenwich that she's used to.
Are we thinking that Susan's kind of empowered but bold, bawdy,
Bawdy, absolutely.
likes to go out a drinking
Absolutely.
and singing and
she
have a good time?
She likes to drink, absolutely.
She likes to
She
drink.
likes to drink. She likes a cigar. She's out there roughhousing and effing and blinding with the rest of them, which is not what ladies do.
Is she all of my relatives? And me.
So they decide Greenwich is perhaps not for us. So Charlie's there, but I want to be posh. Hannah's there, I want to be posh too. Susan, la, 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 la.
Singing old show tunes in the street.
Yeah, exactly.
Where did you get that hat? Where did you get that tie? Please, this is the opera.
So they all move into a single house together in Peckham.
Oh, how horrible.
Yeah. Now, I mean, of course, he's not using the name Charlie Pierce at this time. Charlie Pierce is a wanted man. Charlie Pierce does not exist. In London, he is a Mr. John Thompson. Susan, the mistress, is Mrs. Thompson. Hannah is the relative living next door on his charity. His actual wife is a relative
Wow.
who he's supporting.
That is a nasty setup there.
Yeah.
You'd hope that Hannah was like, yep, fuck it.
Fuck
I
it.
don't care.
Yeah.
Don't care. Give me a goddamn house.
Give me a
Whoever
house.
you want to shag, I get a house out of
Yeah.
it. But it's more likely she's probably sitting there going, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Now, Mr. Thompson is the pillar of the community.
Impeccable.
Highly respected. He is a man with independent income. He doesn't have to work. Occasionally, he supplements it by dealing in musical instruments. Other people's musical instruments, mainly. But yeah, he is a most respectable man.
Sir, I've come to buy a cello. That's a bassoon.
The only slight fly in the ointment, really, is Susan. She likes
She
to
seems
drink.
like a woos.
She's a loose cannon.
Loose
She's
cannon.
a woos wannon.
She's a woos wannon. She can't speak. She's so drunk.
So yeah, she's down the pub, she's necking back the gin, telling all these stories about times back in the north and things like that. And Charlie's going, no, shush yourself. You are Mrs. Thompson. We are living a new respectable life down here.
All right. When I press down on your foot and say hello, Mrs. Thompson, you smile and nod.
Yeah. So it's not going particularly well. In 1878, Charlie has a close call with his past. Just seemingly by weird chance, a Yorkshire policeman was visiting London. And he recognises Charlie in the street.
Is he PC Cox's long lost brother?
Absolutely.
Out for revenge?
Maybe so. Now the policeman recognises Charlie as this wanted man and gives chase. But Charlie knows the streets and he manages to lose the policeman in the crowd.
Very
but
Dickensian.
now the word is out. Charlie is in London. They know where he is. Another break.
Another drink?
Another drink.
Oh, I'm on tenterhooks now. All right. A final drink for a final Christmas. And I think it's going to be one you may enjoy, Nick. So we'll see you in a minute.
We'll see you in a bit.
And we're back.
Yeah, and I'm terrified.
So for our final drink this evening,
I've still got to read more words yet.
you do.
Okay.
And it's not obligatory that you drink all of it, but I wanted to make something and I was looking up, okay, if it was going Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, I got stuck on wardrobe.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I was thinking, okay, wardrobe, and I Googled wardrobe cocktails. I Googled closet cocktails. I Googled armoire
credenza cocktail.
credenza, cupboard, coat rack, everything. Couldn't get anything immediately. And anything that came up was something so dodgy that I was like, no. But then I thought, okay, if we're doing Narnia, which has nothing to do with this story, but if you were doing the wardrobe, what was in the wardrobe?
Some fur coats.
Yes. Now, we had a fur coat in the past.
We have had something like that, yes.
But I found a variation.
Okay.
A mink coat
Oh.
and no manners, this one is called.
Okay, like it.
But let's go with the English version. Mink coat, no knickers.
Mink coat, no knickers. Yep, like it.
And that one contained but 2 ingredients.
Oh, it's going to be shotty, isn't it?
We have some tequila,
Oh.
but as it's Christmas,
Oh, God.
the other ingredient was, of course,
A mince pie.
chartreuse.
Ooh, tequila and chartreuse.
Now,
And
this
you've
is
gone with a yellow
Nick,
chartreuse.
This is the problem that I had earlier, Nick, because where is your green chartreuse? Oh, God. Right. Okay. I could not find green chartreuse. It's supposed to be green chartreuse. And it's supposed to be frozen. Couldn't find it. And I was standing going, this is yellow. I'm almost certain it's yellow. But it doesn't say yellow on the bottle. It just looks yellow. But the whole point of this is it's a floated drink. So you pour in the chartreuse first because it's been frozen.
Yes.
So the reason I'm holding up this bottle is that I have secretly
have
put this
secretly
in
frozen
in the freezer, not knowing where the green chartreuse was. And you're supposed to put the green chartreuse in first and then float the tequila on top.
Okay.
So we have the yellow chartreuse,
Okay.
but we could use the green chartreuse. So I'm thinking that
Let's try the yellow.
Yeah.
You've frozen the yellow.
the reason that you freeze the yellow is that, of course, the chartreuse is not going to freeze, but it's going to thicken.
Yeah.
So the viscosity will go down so you can float the tequila on top.
I'm intrigued to see you do this.
And this is why I want to do it live in front of Nick, because I think if I tried it in the kitchen, all mystery would be removed. So this is a bit live. There may be some cuts in here while Nick kills me.
I'm going to have to observe this.
So
Okay.
let's try it with the yellow. Now, what's the difference between the yellow and the green, Nick?
So the green is definitely stronger. It is more herbaceous. The yellow is a bit 3/4. That's an awful lot.
It says so. It says 3 and 3. 3/4 and 3/4. So I can do it less if you want. Yours can have less in it. You can do half and half on yours.
Yeah,
if
let's
you
do
want.
a half and half.
Let's do half and half. because I didn't think this through clearly when I poured. All right, let's start with it. So we got and it is a lot thicker now. I'm pouring
It is, yeah, it is absolutely.
These are tiny little sherry glasses. Now, it doesn't say how one floats?
Well, generally you would pour it over the back of a spoon, so because if you pour it straight in, obviously the force of the pour is directed into a single stream, which is going to go through. So you pour it over the back of a spoon, so it spreads more evenly out.
Okay, so we're going to try that now. I'm going to do the half one first.
So what I would say is put the spoon into the glass.
Okay, so I've got a bar spoon here.
Yep.
Back,
so other way around, yeah. So nope, the other way around. That's it.
So with the back facing up.
Yes.
Not the dippy bit.
Not
hump,
the dippy.
the hump.
They're facing up, and push it against the side of the glass. Okay, so the edge of that, push it up against the side. Sorry.
Sorry, you do it. You're explaining this badly.
There we go. Just
That's
like
literally
that.
what I did. Okay, so Nick's holding the spoon. So we're now going to see if the tequila floats. Do it very, very gently. Very slowly.
Has it?
It has.
Can't really tell.
All right, Nick, you need to take a picture of
Oh, yes,
that.
it really has.
So there you go. We'll take a picture quickly.
Okay, one sec. Definite layering.
There is definite layering.
You can see that. That's very exciting.
That is very beautiful. I love tequila. Nick loves chartreuse. So I thought this was a match made in heaven. Yours is smaller. Mine is much bigger. Why did I do this?
You are not going to be able to walk.
A mink coat. No knickers.
Mint coat, no knickers.
No manners. All right.
Okay.
You want to try it, Nick?
So what are we doing with this?
We sip it.
No, you can't sip it because all you're going to get is tequila.
Oh, do we have to get it down in one?
Yeah. If you want it,
I had not read that far.
Because if you drink that, you're just going to get tequila, and then drink the tequila, and then you're going to get the chartreuse.
It's a tequila shot that's ready to go.
It's a shot.
Oh shit! I swear, Nick, I did not think this through.
This is a shot. So come on,
it's Christmas.
It's Christmas.
Oh my god!
I've got to work tomorrow,
and this is the first time we've ever done shots.
It is.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas, everyone!
Oh god!
Christ. Okay. Well, that's actually really good.
It's really good. Oh my god!
Ooh.
Oh my god, that's so good.
That's really that's really good.
I did not expect that to be a
No.
shot. Did not read on. My god, that works.
That's lovely.
The cold chartreuse. That's dangerous, Nick. We're going to do so many of those at some point.
Right, okay, I really need to invest in more chartreuse.
Oh, and the yellow. I'm glad it was the yellow chartreuse.
I'm intrigued by what that would be like with the green, because the green is stronger.
That's such a good shot.
That's nice.
And we just, first shot down in one on the poisonous cabinet for Christmas.
We haven't done that. Nice.
A marriage made in heaven, Nick.
Like it.
Like the two of us.
Right, yes. Now I'm seeing everything in triplicate.
Okay, before it really kicks in, let's bring it home. What on earth is going on with Charles?
Well, quite. Where was I? What's going on?
He got some chartreuse.
He got some chartreuse.
And he put it all over his body.
He's out the window, isn't he? He's running out.
Running.
The hunt is now on for Charlie Pierce across London. However, over in Blackheath, they have their own issues to worry about.
Okay.
There has been a massive surge in burglaries in Blackheath.
Oh.
And they are hunting down the elusive Blackheath burglar. They haven't got time to go looking for this Charlie Chappie. None of that. They've got their own manhunt underway. Now, the Blackheath police patrols, they have been increased massively to try and combat this mystery thief. Then one night, one of the patrols catches sight of a light appearing in a back window, like a torchlight.
Oh, okay.
As someone's shining around the place. It's 2 a.m. Two of the police officers keep watch at the back, while another goes to the front and rings the bell. The Blackheath burglar flees the building straight into the arms of the 2 waiting policemen. Out comes the revolver, and he begins shooting. 4 shots go wide. The 5th wounds an officer in the arm, and before he manages to get off the 6th shot, the injured officer rushes and tackles him to the ground. The Blackheath burglar has been caught. Of course, this time they have no idea. They have also apprehended a wanted murderer, Charlie Pierce. They just think, we've got the burglar! Yay, we've got the burglar! Now, when he's back at the police station, the Blackheath burglar gives his name as John Ward.
Yes, John Ward.
So John Ward, the name he used when he was up
the other
at
woman
the boarding house. Absolutely. I think that. while from prison, Charlie writes to one of his friends, a chap called Henry Bryan, asking him to go and check on his family, make sure they're okay, make sure they get out of London. And he signs the letter John Ward, the name he's given to the police. However, to add to the massive confusion, Henry Bryan has no idea who John Ward is. Right. He knows John Thompson, the upstanding London gentleman. John Ward, who the fuck's John Ward? This chap. Yeah, and the letter has come from a police station. What the hell's going on here?
To scrunch this up and
Henry goes to the police station. He goes there going, I've received this letter from this man asking for me for his help. I have no idea who this man is. And then this John Ward is brought out. You're not fucking John Ward, you're John Thompson. What the hell's going on? And I mean, Henry has no desire to get involved in any sort of this sort of shenanigans with the police. And he tells them, well, no, I thought this man was John Thompson. He's got a wife who lives over in Peckham.
Oh, good
all
Lord.
this. And he tells him everything that he knows about John Thompson.
John is standing there going, why did I write to you?
Why did I write to you? Shut up. The police are now on the trail of Mrs. Thompson, Susan. They have more than enough to convict John Ward, the Blackheath burglar, of all the burglaries there and the attempted murder of a police officer. And they do so. And he is sentenced to life imprisonment for his crimes. But as the investigations continue, they know there is still a hell of a lot more going on here that we don't know about. They realise there are more secrets than things that need to be uncovered. So they continue their hunt, and they eventually do track down Susan and Hannah. As soon as the police knock on the door, Susan is ready to say anything to save her own skin. Yeah, absolutely.
She could never be trusted, could she?
John Thompson, he's Charlie Peace, he's from the north, he's wanted for murder, all this sort of stuff. She wasn't his wife, Hannah's his wife, I'm not his wife, she's married to him, which is a real stupid thing for her to do, because Hannah cannot be convicted of anything.
She can't testify against her husband.
Yeah, and also she can't be convicted, can't be tried for anything if it has been done under the order of her husband. If her husband has instructed her to hide these stolen things or go and fence these stolen things, she can't be tried because it's her husband's responsibility.
But Susan's
absolutely,
an idiot,
yeah, absolutely. She's saying all this stuff to try and get out of trouble, not realising that she's providing a perfect alibi or perfect excuse for Hannah to get off scot-free.
Not even to the police as well. She's just like, it was them, it was her next door. He's been doing this. Yeah. I'm a Jehovah's Witness. Have you heard about the Lord?
Now, they know, Christ, have we actually caught Charlie Pearce? Have we caught this wanted murderer?
Yeah, one of the most notorious criminals in Britain
Absolutely.
at the time.
So they know they need probably more to prove that it's him than Susan's word. They can't really rely on that. So a Manchester detective who knows Charlie by sight is brought down to Newgate Prison to identify him. The detective, as soon as he walks into the prison yard, the detective says, yeah, it's him. That one over there, that's Charlie Peace. Charlie is sent back up to Sheffield to stand trial for the murder of Arthur Dyson.
Finally.
Now, Arthur's widow, Kathleen, by this point, she had returned to America after the death of her husband. She is more than happy to return to the UK, to cross the Atlantic to witness the man who had ruined her life brought to justice at long last. Now, she is the first witness called at his trial, which starts on the 17th of January, 1879. The evidence that she gives is damning. Their relationship, all the past and the history that has gone on between them. Charlie sits there and goes, oh, fuck. he must realise by this point he is destined for, he's going to hang.
Yeah, you've got your comeuppance now, Charlie.
Absolutely, really has. Now, because Charlie has been sentenced to life imprisonment for his other crimes, he is actually, between hearings, he is transferred back and forth from London to Newgate Prison and back again. On one of the trips back to Sheffield to carry on the trial, he makes an escape attempt.
Right.
From the train. He's on the train and he fakes a terrible stomach illness.
Of course.
Terrible, terrible, terrible. Now, this requires the two guards to constantly go back and forth to the bathroom with him because he's in such a state. Yeah. Now, eventually they get really pissed off and tired of escorting him to the bathroom every 5 bloody minutes.
So they're going to leave him there?
No.
Or they're not going to accompany him?
No. So what they decide to do, one of the station stops, they decide we're going to get a load of bags. We get a load of bags. If he needs to go to the bathroom, he's going to shit in the bag. We'll throw the bag out the window.
Oh, God.
We don't have to go anywhere. Which, I'm not sure which is preferable, really. but they think that's the better plan.
Right. Fair enough. Okay.
So they decide to do that. On one of these occasions, Charlie has feigned a bout of diarrhea or such like, and as the guard opens the window to chuck this bag out, Charlie leaps for the window as well. Tries to throw himself out of a moving train. Now, he gets halfway out the window before the guards realise what the hell's happening. Now, one of them is grappling with him, grabbing his legs, trying to pull him back into the train. The other one is shouting for a conductor to stop the train. Now, eventually, Charlie manages to wiggle free.
Yeah.
And he actually falls out of the train. Eventually, the train comes to a stop about a mile down the track or so, and the two guards get out and they rush back to where they think Charlie has made his escape. They find him unconscious on the ground. He's fallen headfirst out of a moving train onto gravel. It's not done him well. His massive wound in his head bleeding, and he's lying there unconscious, alive, but very much unconscious. Now, the trial resumes on the 30th of January, and despite the stacks of evidence against him, Charlie's solicitor, he's really going for it, and he manages quite a fierce defence. Charlie is already serving a life sentence, so the idea now is to get him off the gallows. To keep him there. The idea now is to keep him off the gallows. The main line of defence was to claim that Kathleen and Charlie had been in a relationship. This was all entirely consensual between the two of them. Arthur had attacked Charlie out of jealousy that Charlie and Kathleen were carrying out this affair, and the killing had been in self-defence. It was not premeditated. It was entirely self-defence, spur of the moment. The lawyer did manage to establish that the two had probably been closer than Kathleen would have liked to have admitted.
Of course.
There was something going on there.
Yeah.
But the evidence, the vicar was brought up to court, the one who Charlie went to provide this evidence of sin.
I've done some sketches.
I've done some sketches of what I think was happening. All the people in the pub who was boasting about his marvellous, clever ideas too, they all came and gave evidence. And this was clear evidence of premeditation. This man had planned to go there and commit these crimes. It took the jury 10 minutes to come back and find Charlie guilty of murder.
That's not even snack time.
No, absolutely. It's just get in there, close the door, sit down, guilty, out again.
Anyone got... And no one wants a round of sandwiches.
No one wants anything.
No.
The death sentence is inevitable. Now, while he is waiting for his sentence to be carried out, Charlie confesses to the murder of PC Nicholas Cock.
Oh, PC Cock! PC Cock got justice.
Committed 3 years earlier. Now, William Habron is still in jail for the murder. William is released.
Yes!
And he is given £800 in compensation for his unjust time in prison.
It's a Christmas miracle.
Now, at Charlie's execution, Kathleen spoke to a journalist.
Ooh, okay.
She said, "The place to which the wicked go is not bad enough for him. I think its occupants, bad as they might be, are too good to be where he is. No matter where he goes, I am satisfied there will be hell. Not even a Shakespeare could adequately paint such a man as he has been."
It's good. It's flawed. I feel like she was really building up to this. She had her moment. And she planned that out. And there's a lot of geography in there. Just saying, the first line and the last line, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect,
yeah,
woman.
Absolutely. Stick with that. You went on too far. The life and times of Charlie Pierce.
Oh my God.
Marvellous story.
Well, what a moral tale for a Christmas Eve.
Absolutely.
Great story. Ooh, if he's a Cadbury, he had everything. That had a lot of drama. It had circuses.
Of drama.
It had lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. No, it didn't have any tigers and bears.
Tigers and bears.
That was my one fault with it. It didn't have
my
tigers
apologies.
and bears. Great story, Nick. Oh my God, how have we not told this story before?
You still come across, every now and again, you come across these ones. How did I not know about this? It's mad.
It is, opening up the internet and then the internet goes, no, in your face. Charlie was a shit.
He was a shit, absolutely.
He was a shit. He'd obviously had a hard life. Hard life is a it's a background. Like his dad had died in a young age and misfortune, and he'd been injured.
Yes.
You don't have a lot of options for work if you're not of a certain class.
True.
Meh.
But obviously, he was very good at what he put his hand to. He was very good. So when he did his locksmithing and lockpicking, he was very good. He chose to employ it in a underhand criminal way. He was a very talented musician. He decided that's not enough for me.
But if you're not of a certain class, then you wouldn't get the gigs playing for Vivaldi.
No, absolutely fair enough. But he was a very talented. He was very good at his picture framing, and people made
which you seem to hang on to.
But people make a perfectly respectable living out of that.
Respectable.
But it was never enough for Charlie. He was
never going to be
more.
like a superstar framer.
So he always seemed to want more and want the easy way out, which was just robbing people.
Greed, the greatest poison of them all.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely very greedy for all things, and not only
for
money,
everything.
but and
money,
ladies,
but the ladies and
attention.
Yes,
attention.
Absolutely.
But they're not a very long attention span, apparently.
Absolutely so.
Oh my God. Well, what do you think, people? What do you think of the story of Charlie Peace? What do you think of all of his pseudonyms? What do you think of his women, of his ways, of his father's lion taming days? Oh, I've made that rhyme.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have stopped there. I should have carried on. Tell us what you think. Jump on the comments of this episode and share your thoughts, your theories about his story, about who are the greatest criminals in this. It's definitely Charlie. But what would you wear if you were a lion tamer with one leg?
Sparkly leotard, obviously.
Sparkly leotard. Would you make a feature out of the leg?
Well, I think some sort of wooden leg would have to be in order.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not going to end well.
Well, it didn't end well anyway.
Well, this is very true.
But most importantly, you must mix up the selection of drinks we have had.
Many cocktails. The middle one.
So we started with
I can't remember.
the White Lion.
We started with the White Lion.
Which was perfectly lovely.
Perfectly lovely. Absolutely. That was very good.
The White Witch.
White Witch.
Gimmicky.
I'm not sure I'll be having one of them again, to be honest.
It wasn't bad. It just wasn't
bad,
great.
but
or even good.
Yeah. No, indeed.
It had good ingredients, and then the whole dusting of powdered sugar, which for snow was nothing. That was a lot of admin.
Yes. So, yeah, not exciting. But then, the mink coat, no knickers. Bloody marvellous. Bring on those.
Yep. If you need shots on Christmas Day, by
Chartreuse
now,
and tequila is the way forward. Who would have thunk it?
Who would have thunk it? It is us in a shot.
In a glass.
It's the two things. By now, you should have green chartreuse or yellow chartreuse, whatever chartreuse you have, and you should have some tequila. Put the chartreuse in the freezer for a bit. Trust me, it will. And it, you know what?
It's really good.
It dulls the flavour a little bit. Oh, God.
Nice.
And layering it, it's beautiful. Do it. It's Christmas. What a joy we have had today. We hope wherever you are having a fantastic Christmas and keep enjoying it all the way through next week. We are taking a break from the main episode back in 2023, but there's plenty happening on Patreon. If you can't live without your Poisonous Cabinet fix for a week, consider joining us on Patreon. Please leave us an Apple iTunes review, and thank you so much to everyone who has left us beautiful reviews on Apple iTunes this month and the months before. We really appreciate it. Have a very Merry Christmas and keep sending us suggestions of new stories and new things we can do in 2023. Thanks for listening, guys. We have been the people inside the Poisoner's Cabinet. We will see you in 2023. And remember, your loved ones are trying to kill you.
Happy Christmas!